frustration is an emotion in my early days in business I was deeply familiar with. And it took me a long time to figure out that it was actually super useful to me as a piece of information. Hi, I'm Sarah Greener from the Moxie Movement, and today I want to talk about how your emotions are super valuable to you in business. Not just frustration, but I'm going to use frustration as my example because I think it's something that as women in business, when we've got lots of balls up in the air, we experience frustration quite often. Not that long ago, someone said to me, emotions, data for your journey. And I was like, that's a weird way of looking at emotions. And the more I dug into it, the more I realized it's so true. But only if you notice and you understand where those emotions are coming from. And a couple of years back, I had, due to COVID and lots of other things, I'd had a little bit of a break of working on myself as the business owner. Lots of work on the business, but I had maybe let go the journey of working on myself as the business owner. So I was like, this year, I definitely want to do a little bit more work on myself. And one of the things I did was I trained to be a spiral practitioner, which is really delving into emotional clearing and understanding your emotions and what they are telling you. And while I had early on in my journey recognized that emotions impact my business journey, I hadn't really used them in a useful way. Now, for myself and my clients, I want to make sure that we can use our emotions in a super useful way. And the very first thing is we want to start thinking about our emotion as a piece of information. When I'm feeling frustrated, what's actually happening? For me, when I'm feeling frustrated, and you might find this is the same for you, it's probably coming up because you are giving your power away. What do I mean by that? When you're frustrated, you will probably find that the thing you are frustrated by is outside your locus of control, outside the things you have complete control over. Recent example for me is we have a tourism business. It's based in the far north of New Zealand. We have one road effectively in and out. Last year in the cyclones, it got really badly damaged. They obviously have to fix it. And the timing of them fixing it, they have now decided to do still in our peak summer period as a tourism operator. After the last 3 summers being massively impacted by COVID, first and foremost, borders being closed, obviously, and then this weather last year, we were really looking forward to a great summer with the roads open and people being able to get simply and easily to our business. And then they announced, without much consultation at all, that they were going to close the roads from the 6th of February through to Easter. Really peak travel period for us in the far north in the Bay of Islands. And I was so frustrated by that. I was like, God, don't they understand? It's been hard enough to do business in tourism for the last few years. We've survived. Many of the businesses in this industry haven't survived. What are they doing thinking they're going to close at this time of the year? And then I was reminded, I don't have any control over what the New Zealand government does when it comes to fixing our roads. I've never had any control. Do I have a little bit of influence? Yeah, maybe I can lobby, maybe I can vote differently at the next election, those sorts of things. But ultimately, I don't have any control over it. I only have influence. I was giving away my power to the situation by just focusing on things outside of my control. What was the government doing and when was it doing it? Fundamentally, that's information for me, but not something I can change. I was frustrated by it. Now I know what's going on. When I'm feeling that frustration by the situation that's outside of my control, it's really easy for me to start to think about how can I bring my focus back to what is in my control in this situation. So I look at the bigger picture, not just the thing that I'm frustrated about. What am I fundamentally worried about? I'm worried about, can my customers and clients get to me during that time period? The answer is yes, they can. They just have to take a little detour. And I want to make sure that to our customers, we are starting to communicate early on that they can still get to us. That is back inside my control. Whenever you're feeling frustrated, you are giving your power away. Not only are you looking at things that are outside your control, you're probably looking at places where you only have a really little bit of influence as well. Your job when you're feeling frustrated by something is to come back to what's in my control. What's in my locus of control? It's super simple. What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? And what are my actions? What can I do? How can I think about it? What do I want to feel about it? And what can I do about it? And for me, I'm like, we need to make sure that we're sending regular emails to our clients, communicating to them that they can still get to us. They have to take the scenic route, and maybe we need to do some marketing around what are the nice things to eat or to see or to do on that little detour that they have to do to get to us, so that we're making the best of the situation. And that brings us back into control. And I notice that when I do that and I start focusing on the actions I can do and I can get my team to do, the frustration disappears. I'm less stressed about it. I'm less worried about it. It drops down. And 30-year-old Sarah would have probably stayed in frustration. I might have got cross, might have got angry, might have done the lobbying thing and gone and worked really hard to get them to change their minds. And maybe that would have worked, maybe it wouldn't. It would have expended a huge amount of energy on things that were just where I've got a little bit of influence instead of what I've got control. Now, in my 40s, I know that my emotions are a little piece of information that tell me something about what's going on for me in this journey and this experience in my business. And guess what? You can also use it in your life too. And frustration is a really key one for me because it always tells me that I'm looking somewhere where I'm not in control. It tells me that I'm giving my power to someone else or something else or an experience or an environmental change that I don't have any control over. And I need to bring it back to myself so that I can shift it. There's vast things that your emotions tell you. For example, when you get angry, it's a sign that one of your boundaries has been breached. Now, that doesn't mean that makes the other person a bad person. It might mean that you didn't do a good job of communicating your boundaries. Again, sometimes we feel anger or when it comes to our customers or our clients for calling or emailing or texting us when we're not at work, or not paying their bills on time, or not giving you a positive review. Maybe that's one of your boundaries that gets breached all the time. And when that happens, we feel anger at it. I remember in those early years, we always got 5-star reviews on TripAdvisor, and then someone had the audacity to give us a 4-star review. And I was angry because that was a boundary that I had. I had this expectation that we set 5-star experience every time, and that if someone didn't like what we were doing, that they should come and tell us personally, privately, not publicly on a website. Now, let's be honest, 4-star versus 5-star, not really a big difference. It's not them actually saying, oh, we hated it, it was terrible. But back then, that was how I perceived it. And so this was just the anger that was coming up around this 4-star review wasn't anything other than my boundary had been breached. They should have told us what wasn't happy. That was my boundary that I set. Now, have I communicated that clearly? Could I communicate that better? Yes, absolutely. It was something we changed in our systems and processes to say, if you don't love the experience, come and let us know. If you do, go online and write us a 5-star review. Like, we explicitly tell people that. And now we don't have that challenge anymore. So when anger shows up for you, it's not your job to like stuff it down or push it away. It's to go, oh, I feel angry about that. Which boundary of mine has been breached? Who breached it? Have I communicated that boundary clearly, often enough, concisely enough? Have I checked that they understood it? And then have I reinforced that boundary? Because if I haven't done all of those things, then there's every chance that I'm going to have a problem with that boundary being breached again and again. So again, my emotions are this amazing piece of information that tells me I have a boundary here. Someone's leant up against it or maybe breached it completely. What do I need to do with that boundary to make sure that this experience doesn't happen again? Now, we can ignore those bits of data, those bits of information that our emotions show us, or we can use them. What I would say to you is that if you can see a frustrating experience, you can see experience that's making you angry, rather than sitting in the emotion and stewing in it, notice it, learn what that emotion says to you, and start using it to redirect either you or other people or your business so that you can build what you need to be building. Ignoring it never helps. You grew up in the same sort of era that I grew up in. We were taught to stuff our emotions down. There were 3 emotions, happy, sad, mad, and you were only really ever allowed to be happy. Mad and sad were not things that were socially acceptable. And so we want to think about, instead of stuffing all of that down and being really simplistic about our emotions, is getting more expansive, learning better vocabulary around our emotions, and also, what do they tell us? The more you understand about what your emotions tell you on your journey, the better you'll be able to redirect, to shift, to adjust, to adapt, to be flexible in your business journey. So I'm curious, what emotions have shown up for you in your business over the last couple of weeks? And what have they told you? And what do you need to readjust? Because when we have great self-awareness around ourselves and what's showing up, we can start to tweak it and adjust it and change it to allow us to step into the leadership role that we need to be a great business owner. And just this shit works awesome when it comes to your relationship with your significant other, your intimate relationship, your marriage, your partnership. It also works great with kids. So notice what emotions are showing up. What are they telling you? And use that information to your advantage so that you can move forward on your journey, so you can make more expansive relationships, so you can have more fun on this process of building a business. Because when you have that awareness, when you use that information to your advantage, you have a really great shot of being the glorious exception. Till next time, stay moxie.